Okay, Enunciation Latin class, Capitulum Quintum, Grammatica Latina. Whoop, got one more. There you go, Christian. Good. So I will mute everybody and we will start the opening prayer here. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Okay, so what we're going to do, actually, first, before we get started on all these charts, are there any questions on the second part of chapter 5? Because if not, we'll get started in on the summary of where we are today.
I have kind of a quick question.
Sure.
In chapter 5, it says that the double I with the macron on it versus the EI with the macron on it for, I guess it's for they, is one and the same. But it seems like they prefer the double I with the macron over the second I. And in doing some of the homework, I actually was counted off for using the EI as opposed to the double I. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
I don't know if the double I is more classical than the EI. I will make a note to look into that, because certainly in the
so we're talking about the nominative masculine pronoun for they.
Right. Plural. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was strange that I got counted off of that when it looks like the book is saying that they can be used interchangeably, but
yeah. Well, that's what I recall from the well, here let's hop up here to the to this one, because I think this is where they have that. Or it was in the
in the story on page 34 of the book.
Let's see here. Okay, that's what they listed as.
And there, you know, those side notes that they have in next to the text.
Yeah.
Well, in the side notes, they have the two being the same, and there's a line in there where I'm trying to think if I can remember where that is.
Yeah, let's see here. No, I've seen them mention that.
Oh, it starts off, and I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it EE? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
EE quoque in cubiculis dormium. So they don't use the EI there, but they use the EE instead.
Yep.
And but off to the left, it tells you that
so you said line 30.
EE equals.
Whoops, wait a minute. Hold on, let me get the right line.
Oh, sorry.
Let's click in the right place.
Hey, Michael, quick question on the pronunciation. Since the second I has the macron, it's not EE, it's like EE.
It should be EE. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
EE, I guess. It's
I'm looking
a little hard to say.
for, I don't see it here. You said 34?
Yeah, it's on page 34 on the side. You're not
on page 34. You're way ahead then. This is on this is in the book, right? I mean, in the print.
in the book.
All right, let me look.
You're on 27.
Yeah, well, that's oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong chapter. This is why. Sorry about that. There we go.
That could make a difference.
Yeah, that makes a little difference. So this is, you said 30, or you said 34, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is.
That's the page. So if you look on the side there, yeah, it shows that double I and EI are equal.
They are.
They're
I mean,
suggestions are the
that-
same. And then off to the right of that, you can see where it says e quoque in cubiculus dormium. So they choose to use the double I there. But anyway, I was just curious if you prefer that we use the double I, then I'll just remember that. And instead of that in the companion,
It's
it
interesting.
says it has a forward slash saying that you can use either one for the plural.
Yeah, in there, if you go to the Familia Romana, you go to the page 308, they just show the IE and not the AE.
Well, that certainly seems, what they are preferring.
They're preferring, so yeah.
Was there a preferential one in historical usage?
I suspect the EE might be classical. Let me just take a quick look here. All right. Okay, declension. All right, my computer dictionary has the EI. So let me browse the definition here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. In early pre-classical poetry, it was usually, oh no, wait, that's the dative. I'll have to sort through this. This is a rather long entry there. I will try and I'll make a note to look that up. My suspicion is that the II is a little more classical than the EI, because they stick, the Familia Romana sticks pretty close to classical Latin in structure and in vocabulary. So that would be my guess.
Okay, and then I have one other quick question, and that is in the latter part of chapter 5,
Okay.
there are two places where the Ajay is used in the vocative AGE, Ajay,
In the imperative.
and there are obviously different translations to that. It's on page 36 on line, I think it's about 88, something like that. 85, 6, 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
And then on page 37, Delia uses that in, I guess it's line 103, where she says, Ajay veni domina. And the translations that I've gotten are come on, well now. It seems like come on makes more sense than come, because if you have veni after Ajay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to say come and then come again.
Yeah, no, Ajay, as I mentioned before.
We know it has a lot of different meanings, but in this context, I was wondering what you thought that the translation would be. Would it be like?
I would think of it as the first Ajay as sort of a attention, rouse yourself, wake up, meaning it's an attention getter saying, hey, you need to do something here.
Yeah, I think one definition was well now.
Yes.
Or, all right, like, okay. let's get going.
Well, in this case, I wouldn't use that in this sense because the Ajay, veni domina, et Marcum verbera, really means, well, let's do this part for the moment because that's the easy part. Come mistress and thrash Markham because he's
Right.
up his old tricks.
Right.
So the Ajay here is more like an intensifier, meaning, hey, oh, I don't know. What do I want to say? Get a move on.
Well, it's got the exclamation point. So that's
Yeah, it does. And so I would use it to, in the sense of, stir up yourself, or maybe quick. We would probably say quick come here, although that's not a literal translation of the Ajay. So, but
Well,
it does mean to one of the meanings of Ajay is to stir up, rouse yourself might, rouse yourself might be
Like, get moving.
Might be a better, we don't really have an exact equivalent, but I would say rouse yourself might be the, shake a leg.
yeah.
Well, I probably wouldn't use shake a leg quite in this sense, but I would use it more like,
I think they use the term interlocutory or something like that, or something like that. I forget what the way of describing that is.
yeah. So
And I think it's used in the same way on in line 87, where this is where Amelia is talking to Delia.
actually, okay. Now this one here, quid iam agunt
This
puer,
is,
if that's the one. Oh, well, then they have Ajay Delia.
yeah, see, I think it's
Yeah.
in the same way because she's using
it
this
is.
in an exclamatory way.
Yeah, that kind of nicely contrasts the two meanings because this one literally means, what are the kids up to? What are the boys up to? What are they doing? What are they doing might be a better, best translation. But then we're using the Ajay Delia, hey, attention.
She's trying to get Delia's attention. So
Yeah.
it's sort of, it's
Yeah.
really similar to what's happening on the next.
Oh yeah, no, it's the exact same construction down
I'm
here.
trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
Almost like, hey,
Oh, okay. Hey, actually, hey may be the best translation of that word or the sense of that word in here. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the only word that I was having trouble trying to figure out exactly what the translation should be.
Well, Aga or Ajit and Ajare and is sometimes a little tricky to really do a good job of translating in.
Well, it's not give like in.
Yeah, it's not give. No,
Ajimustibi, right?
That's Ajimustibi. No.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not give.
Yeah, and in fact, really, the Ajimus there isn't so much well, we'll get into more of that later.
Right.
But anything else? Yeah, I like the hey. See, do they mention?
I didn't see any place where
See,
they
I
mentioned
don't
it.
remember seeing actually, the other thing we can do here is hit the glossary, and we can put in ago. And no. Ajay. I don't see it. Ajay. Oh yeah, see, this is real helpful. Drive, do, or perform. that is the literal meaning of the verb. So, but
Yeah,
it certainly
that's-
does not fit in English in this sense. So it's a little more, yeah, it's a little more complicated than that.
exactly.
The meaning is richer than that. Let's put it that way. So, So yeah, if I'm at church and I ask you quid agis, that literally means you know, what's up? What are you doing?
Mhm.
So okay. So any more questions, and then we can go on to the Grammatica section, which is right there. Okay. This is where we begin talking a little more seriously about the various cases for Latin nouns. I'm going to go through this and then I'm going to go through my charts. I think that's probably the best order. Accusativus, masculinum. Okay, so filium for singular and filios for plural. So if it is a direct object, you're going to use a ending for the masculine and a os ending for the plural. And I have tables of these in the slides. So and again they say filium est accusativus singularis, accusative singular. Filios accusativus pluralis est. And this is where I believe it was this chapter that they introduced the plurals, if I'm not mistaken. You only had the singulars earlier. So accusativus singularis, nominativus us, pluralis os, nominativus, i.e. the plural nominative is with an I. Feminine is similar. Iulius non duas filias. Notice filium for the masculine. Filios for the masculine, filias, since that's plural. Sed unam filiam habet. So pretty much what we see for the first and second declensions is you substitute the U for an A to make it feminine for the most part. And then neuter, villa non unum cubiculum, sed multa cubicula habet. So the villa does not have one cubicle or bedroom, but has many bedrooms. And cubitum, by the way, means bed. So cubiculum really means a little bedroom. Cubicle in English is a little more general, you know, like you go to the office, you work in a cubicle. So, cubiculum accusativus singularis est, cubicula accusativus pluralus est. Now, one of the things, okay, accusativus singularis, cubiculum, and pluralis cubicula. So one of the interesting features of the neuter nouns is the nominative and the accusative form is the same. So unum cubiculum, one bedroom. You could say unum or multum. Well, no, okay, multa cubicula, plural, in villa sunt. Many bedrooms are in the villa. So cubicula is the plural, but if you were to say the villa has many bedrooms, villa cubicula multa habet. So the nominative and the accusative forms are the same for the neuter nouns. And this is true of every declension. It's true of the third, fourth, and fifth declensions, which you haven't gotten to yet. I believe chapter 9 is where they introduce that. So, Ablativus. All right. Right now, we just use the Ablativus after our prepositions. Chapter 6 will do a bunch of prepositions, and it will also introduce something called the ablative of instrument or ablative of means, or sorry, ablative. I've been working in space too much. Ablative is what you put on the bottom of the Orion. Ablative is what you use in Latin. So right now we use it after the preposition in, and we also use it after the preposition cum, since both of those, oh yeah, here we go. In ex ab cum sine cum ablativo. So in atrio, in cubiculis, ex horto, ex Italia, ap Emilia, ap opido, cum servo, cum liberis, sine pecunia. Yeah, we can all relate to that, right? And sine grossus. Sine pecunia means without money. And then the imperativus and indicativus. Up till now, we've just had pretty much the indicativus, or the indicative, which simply, the indicative is a sentence that states a fact, or at least that the speaker believes is a fact, okay? So, Britannia insula est, Britain is an island, that's the indicative. Julius, servos, multos, habet. Julius has many servants. That is also indicative. But the imperative is a command. So davam voca serve. So call Davus. And he is addressing another slave or servant. Okay. Well, in the book, well, in this chapter, it was medus, of course. But servus davam vocat. So there is the indicative and there is the imperative. Julium vocate pueri. Boys, call Julia. Pueri Julium vocant. The boys call Julia. So vocate, vocant, plural, voca, vocat, singular. Any questions there?
I have a quick question on the ablative.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, kind of running through this, because they they have a number of examples. I think it was on page yeah, it was actually on the first page on 32, where they talk about o and ah. And I was just curious, it seems like all the ablatives that we have seen, that the last vowel on the ablative word has a macron over it. And it doesn't seem to matter what declension, at least the first declension.
Yeah, first and second declension.
First and second declension, all the ablatives all have a macron over the last vowel in the ablative case. Does that run true for all the?
Let's see here. I got to be careful about the third declension.
The reason why I ask is that, as you know, we do these exercises, and the thing that always bothers us, you're always looking to see where does that macron have to be in order for me to get the answer correct.
Right.
And if you know that you're dealing with an ablative word, then you know that you've got to have a macron there.
Yeah, that is true of the first
and second declension.
Second.
But that's what we're principally dealing with
now. Let me finish. And fourth and fifth.
Oh,
Not
okay,
but not the third.
okay.
Yeah, not the third. And what is interesting about yeah. So first, second, fourth, and fifth, but not the third.
So it's a good rule to follow.
Yeah. Well, the third is the third declension is kind of the evil twin. It follows some of the rules that you would see in the second declension. It follows some of the endings that you would see in the fourth declension. Excuse. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the fourth declension. And it would then follow some of the rules. Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting my declensions all mixed up here. I'm getting it. I'm getting my verbs, my conjugations, and my declensions. Excuse me. Forget that. Forget I said that. I was thinking of the verbs. I was thinking of conjugations. The third declension is a bit of a mishmash of stuff. It's the third conjugation that sometimes follows the second conjugation or the fourth. So, sorry. But yeah, for the first and second, they are, for the singular, they are long. All right, where were we? Okay. So anyway, this goes through, yeah.
Before we go ahead, can I ask one question?
Sure.
I lost you for a second while you were talking about the neuter right before we started discussing the ablative. You were saying something about neuter words and how they all have something in common, but I missed what that was.
Okay.
Nominative and accusative.
Yeah, it was the A ending on the.
Let's see.
On the nominative and accusative.
Tell you what, let me, I will show you for a moment. I'll try to think where the best place to show this is. Okay. Cubiculum is a neuter noun, and that could be either nominative or accusative here, okay? And that's because cubiculum in the singular nominative ends in um, and in the accusative singular, it ends in um. And the plural is cubicula. So in the nominative plural and the accusative plural, it has the same ending as a.
Got it.
So that will become true across the various other declensions that have neuter nouns. Obviously, the first declension does not have neuter nouns. They're all feminine for the most part. I'm not saying they all end in and a, but rather you will see other declensions where the nominative and the accusative are the same for both the singular and the plural. And in fact, let me find, well, okay. I'll go ahead.
I think I understand the principle,
Okay.
so it's gonna slow things down. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, you'll see it later on when we hit the third declension. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's see here. Anyway, so what they do here is they give you that. Now they're going to give you the endings for the vocative. Sorry, not the vocative, excuse me, the imperative singular, imperative plural, indicative singular, and indicative plural. This is the first conjugation, okay? So those are ARE, what are known as ARE verbs. And I'll explain a little bit more about this when I get to my slides. They're trying to simplify things for you, which is good. In fact, that's great. But there's alternative ways to approach some of this stuff. And that's what I have in my slides. If you like their way better, by all means, whatever works for you, is the important thing. But this is the first declension, first conjugation. So, saluta dominum serve, literally greet the master slave. Salutate dominum servi, meaning greet plural, greet the master slaves. Okay. And then servus dominum salutat, the slave greets the master. Servi dominum salutant, the slaves greet the master. So you can see here, these are all the endings. I'll come back to 3 for a moment. And here are for 4. And the nice thing about it is if it has an A in the third person, which is really, or third person singular or plural, then it has the A elsewhere. The same is true of the E. This is the second declension. And these are known as ERE verbs, and that holds for them. For the third declension, unfortunately, as I said, that's the evil twin. Sometimes, whoops, what's going on here? I was trying to just select that. No, all right, well, that's not going to work. Sometimes the ERE verbs or third declension follow the second declension, and sometimes they look like the fourth declension. Well, in this case, this chede, short E, it's kind of like the second one. Deschedite is more like the fourth. So you're just going to have to sort out the third. There's really no way, I mean, it's the exception to the rule. And then the fourth declension, veni, venit, venite, veniunt. So with that,
Michael?
Yeah.
I know that part is in the section of imperative and indicative, but the survey there, that is the vocative, I gather.
That's vocative, yes.
Vocative
yes.
for servants. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're dealing with both the imperative and the vocative in that particular.
Yes, and that's where you would certainly use the vocative. If you just shout, discede, leave. Well, and you have several people standing around,
Right.
Well, in English, I guess they'd all leave because there's no singular and plural forms. But in Latin, there is. So if you just said discede, they wouldn't necessarily know who you were referring to. So by attaching a vocative form, discede serve, leave, slave, or servant, or mede, or dave, or or whoever.
Mayday.
Yeah. So that's really quite common. And keep in mind that the plural, the E ending for the vocative is only true of the US ending
Right.
nouns, and the plural is the same as the plural. So, and you'll see that in my charts here. So let's move on. Let me organize this a little bit. Hopefully, maybe, I hope. So, nomina Latina habent genus, numerum et casum. So genus or kind, number, and case. So genus, masculinum, feminum, aut, neutrum. Now, what is aut? You haven't had that yet. We've had et. Okay. Et is and. There are two kinds of ways of saying or in Latin, aut and vel. Aut means one or the other. So if I say a aut be, you have the choice of a or either B. You don't get both. Whereas if you say vel, it can be both. So if I say, if I said something in English like, do you like ice cream or do you like cake? And the answer may be both. So vel there would be an appropriate use of the word or. If I were offering you one or the other, then I would use ought. Make sense? Okay. So anyway, yeah, we've seen that. The gender, masculine, feminine, neutrum. Numerus, singularis, aut pluralis. Nouns are either singular or plural. Casus, well, we have a long list. Nominativus, accusativus, genitivus, dativus, which we really haven't done much. Well, we haven't done anything with it, really. Ablativus and vocativus. The others we have. Next, is it next chapter? No, I don't think, maybe it is next chapter. You'll see the data, I forget. Now, any questions on that? So now, terminaciones nominum, noun endings. Terminaciones nominum indicant genus, numerum, et casum. So in other words, the endings on a noun indicate all of these, okay? So, terminationis nominum maxime valde. Noun endings are very important. So you really have to get comfortable with them. And that's probably the hardest part of Latin. English really doesn't have a lot of we pretty much have singular and plural, and that's it. Some of our pronouns have some of the other forms, kind of leftovers from Proto-Indo-European. But so now, genera nominum sunt tria. Let's break them down. Masculinum, ut Marcus, Quintus, Julius, Hortus, Filius, Vir, et Puer. We've only had the first two declensions, so we know the US endings and the Vir and the Puer are all nomen masculinum, or nominum masculinum, or well, masculine nouns. Nominum masculina, there we go. Feminum, ut Aemilia, Roma, Europa, Insula, Rosa, Femina, and Puella. Again, we've had the first conjugation, first declension. Wow, I've got conjugation on the brain tonight. First declension, and they all end in A. Neutrum, ut oppidum, baculum, atrium, peristilium, UN ending. So the very fact that we have those endings are an indication of which of the genera it belongs. So again, and these are all, by the way, these are all in nominative form. I'll later on, we'll have all the various endings. Numerus nominum sunt duo. the number of nouns is 2. Singularis aut pluralis. Well, that's pretty easy. So fluvius, fluvii, puella, puellae, oppidum, oppida. And that's similar to English. I mean, English puts an S on most things. Well, many things, not all of them. You know, child, children, moose, mouse, mice. So it certainly has a lot of irregular ones. Latin doesn't have too many irregular ones. Once you know that a noun belongs to a conjugation, try again, noun belongs to a declension, then you pretty much know how to decline it through the various cases. There are some irregular ones, there are some exceptions, but by and large, they're mostly regular. Casus nominum sunt 6. 6 cases. This one is the one that's kind of hard for English speakers. Nominativus, the subject. Julius et Aemilia habent 3 liberos. Britannia insula est. So if it is a subject, then it is in the nominative. Okay. If it is, now this is known as a predicate. So if you wanted to say Britannia magna est, Britain is big, well, actually, that's not a noun. Never mind. We're just talking about nouns. We'll talk about the adjectives later. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, the book goes nominativus, accusativus, genitivus, dativus, ablativus, and vocativus. That's a slightly odd order. Usually you see the nominativus and then the genitivus and then the dativus, then the accusativus, and then the ablativus, and then the vocativus. I have reordered my tables and notes to match the book only because I'm hoping that makes it less confusing.
Oh no, those of us who learn.
I know. You guys from the yeah. If you have the Collins as a reference, he sticks to the I will call it the classical order. There's a
I do lovingly call that the boot camp.
Yeah, well, there's a reason Collins does that, and most people do the nominative and the genitive. And the reason is in the dictionary, if you look up a word, they give you the nominative. In fact, let me do this. Fluvius. There we go. Let me switch to here. Let me do a new share here. I should have added this. Let's see here. We'll do, here it is. Can I add this? Oh, there we go. There we go. Whoops. There, you should be able to see this. Oh, nope. Sorry. Let me do that again. Share. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's in there. Here's Fluvius. I don't think I can make the text any bigger. I apologize. But you notice that it says Fluvius, and then it has the double I. Okay. What that means is that's the genitive form. So if you get the nominative and the genitive form of a noun, you can pretty much do the whole declension. Okay. Can't necessarily say that with the accusative. Okay. So that's why all the dictionaries do it that way. There we go. Actually, I'm curious. Let's see what happens if we do Fluvius. Fluvius. Oh, I misspelled that? Oh, it changed it. Thank you, autocorrect. Yeah, see, even in their glossary, they give the nominative and then the I, meaning that's the genitive, and then the gender. So I'm not sure why they did it that way, but that's the way they did it, and that's the way all the tables are. And so I'll continue with it, or at least I'll try to anyway. But getting back here, So nominativus you use if it is the subject of the sentence. Accusativus you use if it's the direct object. Whoop. Let me underline there. So Julius et Emilia habent tres liberos. So liberos here is the direct object, and so it needs to be in the accusative. And we saw earlier that that's the OS for children. Genitivus is the possessive. That's fairly easy. English has a possessive. So Marcus et Quintus filii Julii et Emiliae sunt. Marcus and Quintus are the sons of Julius and Amelia. Dativus, as I said, we haven't had it yet. It's the indirect object, but I'm including it here anyway. So Julius unum numum davo dat. Julius gave to Davus 1 coin. And we'll see more of that as time goes on. And for the ablativus, we've already seen. We've usually use it. Well, we've used it in conjunction with prepositions. So Amelia et liberi in horto sunt. Amelia and the children are in the garden. Julius in opido est. Julius is in the city.
Hey,
Michael,
Michael.
Yep.
Michael.
Porto, shouldn't there be a macron?
Macron
Yeah,
over
you're
both
right.
Opio and Porto, right?
Yes,
There we go. Thank you.
thank you.
I realized that just after I did that. See, what's the problem? There's macrons there. Anyway, vocativus, direct address. Okay, marce, quinte, dave, mede, only for masculine nouns ending in US. So, except deus, there is no there is no vocative for deus, or God for some reason or other. It would be dei, and that would have problems, or it'd be awkward to pronounce. So, and agnus is another one. Lamb has no vocative form. So there are actually a number of US ending nouns that have no vocative form. But they're very few. Deus and agnus are the only two I can think of off the top of my head. Okay, so before I get to my tables, let's talk about Declinaciones Latinae nominum, declension of Latin nouns. Okay, declension. Pretty much all Latin nouns fall into one of the 5 patterns of endings. As I said, there are some that are irregular. You're going to need to eventually memorize all 5 declensions. But the good news for now, you have just 2 to deal with, and they're the pretty easy ones. 3 is the one that's a bit exciting. 4 and 5 are pretty easy. But for now, you just have the 2. So I'm not really going to talk about the others. If you want to see them, you can look in the Grammatica pages. After the Latine disco, they have the Grammatica. They've got tables of a lot of those. You don't really need to deal with them, I believe, until chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken. But now, anyway, you have first declension, feminine nouns ending in A for the singular nominative case. And then you have second declension, masculine nouns and neuter nouns. So the masculine, USIR and ER. So Julius, vir, puer, for example. And then we have the neuter ones, oppidum, atrium, peristilium. And so those are the ones that we need to work with at the moment. So here is question.
On the previous slide, not to be picky, the one before that. Shouldn't liberos have a macron over the O? Just
Should
just-
Just
thought I'd bring.
please be picky.
Okay.
There we go.
And in the ablative is in liberi, is there supposed to be a macron over the first I?
No, that's
No.
No, okay.
that's not ablative.
And that's
It's the ablative.
that's plural.
That's plural.
Children.
But still,
Horrible.
I didn't know if there's supposed to be a macron, whether it's, I mean, it's just the ablative line is what I was talking about.
Sorry. Actually, it is not ablative, but it does need a long I. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. All right. Let's see, where was it? Oh, table. Here we go. Now this is the table. So Michael, here's your table to look up all those endings. All right.
Thank you.
First conjugation, second conjugation, and the important thing is to see similarities that will help you learn these declensions. And one of them is in the accusative. In the first declension, there is almost an A in everything. Okay, the only exception is the plural dative and ablative. Okay. And whereas in the second conjugation, you have use, but you also have your genitive, your dative, your ablative are all the same across the board, I's, O's, and O's, and these are the same. And then the plurals, and then the accusative, and the genitive, and then the dative, and the whoops, that is, oh, I did not include, you know what? I left out the neuter.
Neuter.
Darn. Okay. Well, okay. We'll do this in real time.
It's so hard to find good help these days.
No comment. Let's merge and then we'll say -UM. There we go. And actually, let's do it this way. Let's copy this, put that over there. We'll make a UM. And of course, this ends in UM.
And the next one too, as
Yeah,
well.
the next one. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier, -UM. And then this is the genitive is -I. And actually, I should just copy these. Let's see, is that going to change? Oh, let's do it this way. Oh, here, I'll do it this way. That way it won't mess up the formatting. And then the ablative, and then the vocative, there's no change. And then this one is an A. And this.
So Michael, when you say the vocative, there's no change. So for the ER, it would end in O for the singular across. You have blanks there. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what the blanks are. Are
Oh,
those
okay.
blanks?
So like puer,
Yes.
the vocative form of puer is puer. There's no ending.
Okay.
change.
Got it.
Dash means no change in ending. Okay. Or well, actually maybe what I should say here, actually to be more correct, this is an ER.
ER, yeah, then it should be ER. Yeah, right.
Let's
Okay,
put
got
an
it.
I there. That probably makes more sense.
There you go. So then it would be ER and IR across down below.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And the same thing with the vocative for the neuter would be UM. Okay, got it.
And, oh, well, oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
You use the,
Put it this way, meaning the dash meant there was no change. Maybe that's a little.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, that's what was kind of, I thought it was just blank.
Yeah,
They didn't exist.
there, let's do it this way. Oops, and this is the same here. There, okay. So anyway, going back to the fact, even though the endings in the nominative form change, a lot of this is the same across the flavors of the second conjugation, the second declension. So, and you will see similar patterns when we hit the third. A little more complicated, but a lot similar idea.
Mhm.
So what does this work? Okay, so if we get examples, so insula, the terminatio, the ending is an A. Thema, or the base, is insul. Okay, so insula. So the nominative, insula, accusativus, insulam, the genitivus, insulae, dativus, insulae, ablativus, insula, vocativus, insula. Plural, insulae, insulas, insularum, insulis, insulis, and insulae. So
And those are all feminine gender, right?
those are all feminine, yeah.
Got you.
And there is the possibility of a ending word being masculine.
Like Papa.
We have not, I don't think we've had any in the Familia Romana yet, but the classic example is, what is Latin for Pope? Papa.
Papa.
Okay. I'm sorry, but Papa is a guy. Okay. So it is actually one of the few masculine ending A words. For the moment, I think you can assume that these are all feminine for the moment. All the A endings you're going to see in the Familia Romana, but there are a handful. So if you find one, just be aware. But for the moment, I wouldn't get too concerned. Okay, second declension, exemplum dominus, terminatio. Oh, I didn't, tisk, I didn't put macrons on there. Oh, well. US ending. So the base is domin. So dominus, dominum, domini, domino, domino, and domine. And you'll see domine all over the place in the liturgy. At the prayer right before communion, Domine non sum dignus odentres satectum meam, setantic verbo et sanabitur anima mea. So there's the Domine. Lord, I am not worthy. Domine non sum dignus, I am not worthy. Plural, Domini, Dominos, Dominorum, Dominis, Dominis, and Domini. And I translated this as master. That's the fairly literal translation. In English, one's master was one's Lord. So usually you will see, certainly in ecclesiastical, you will see, hey, you will see that translated as Lord. But in the case of the Familia Romana, Julius is referred to as the Dominus. And so if you want Lord, I guess that's okay in the sense of, English lords and ladies. And then Amelia is the Domina. which is sometimes translated as mistress, mistress in the sense of the female master, not mistress in the more salacious sense it's usually used today.
So Michael, if you were to say Lord of Lords, Dominus Dominiorum?
Yes. Dominus Dominorum, yes.
Wow. Maybe this thing's working. Okay.
Okay, puero, it's puero, puer, and continue in the same pattern here. I'm basically applying this table, so you see how all this hangs together. So puer, puerum, pueri, puero, puero, puer. And that basically matches, well, except for this part, matches the the I, the O, the E. Well, there is no E on that one. So, you know, you can see the commonality between that. So puer shouldn't be such a challenge. And then vir is the same pattern. Vir, virum, viri, viro, viro, vir, viri, viros, virorum, viris, viris, and viri. Again, there's just no US in there to chop off. Now, I will warn you, there is, we haven't had ager yet, have we? Well, we'll worry about it when they come. There's one other case for the puer, and if there is a consonant in here, for example, ager, tell you what, I'll just duplicate this slide. All right. Ager. AG. Well, I'll pretty this up and resend these. But ager, which means field, and then the accusative is, let's see if I can do this. AG. All right, let's do replace and find. Oops, I left out an R, figures. Well, oops. So let's throw in the R. Drop the R here. So yeah, there we go. So there is if it's a consonant, then Latin will just drop that E, and then it follows the same form as the puer. I don't think we have any words like that that we've learned so far. But here, let me change this to field. F-I-E-L-D, F-I. So now you know how I duplicate slides. Makes sense. I realize I don't think we've had it yet, but that is one form that you will see in the second declension. And then lastly, of course, is, oh no, we did vir. And I did not do oh dear, I did not do a neuter. So let's duplicate. So what shall we do? Oppidum? So we town or, yeah, town, I guess. Do they use that as city or town? Did they say in the,
I think they say town.
yeah, I think they said town.
I use it interchangeably.
Yeah, some people think a town is smaller than a city, so.
That's-
Yeah, there we go. Whoops, yes.
You know, you mentioned Ajay. We have had Libero, and that would be an example.
Oh, I don't believe it. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that would be a better example.
Oh, good grief.
Add
Thank
that.
you. Liber. Yes. Yeah, let's switch that. There we go. So now, why didn't you tell me this when I was changing this?
It just didn't occur to me immediately.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, hey, you know, I really shouldn't throw any stones because it there we go. So let us place and find. Replace. So we shall say there. We will change these accordingly. I can't believe I missed those. All right, so we got Livy, Libos, Libo, Libris, Libus, Libri. Good. Yeah, let's fix that to child. Where is your other? Oh, well, that isn't going to work, is it? Children.
Hey, I thought this was book.
Um, no, book.
Is Libri.
Yeah,
Are-
it is no, this is child. Liber, liberi. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, liber. Oh, you know what?
This is all book. It's not
Right.
child.
I need to put the E back in. Golly. You're right.
The way you had it declined, I think, was book.
Yeah, you're right. I did.
Up on top where the thema S, it's Liber, just the R, just drop the E.
Oh, hold on. Let's go back to this here. And you're right. It is book.
Yeah, the way you have it declined, it's book. It's not child.
And that's the form we want. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, we want, sorry. Yeah, we'll fix the children's. Here, let's fix this. Okay. Actually, have we had book? Have we had? I think we had children, but I don't think we had
We haven't had book run yet.
book yet. Oh well.
No,
No, yes, we did.
yeah, we've had
Chapter
children.
2 or
It's
3.
it's just that it's declined differently.
Yeah, children. Yeah, they both. Yeah. Both. Okay, child is. Oh, and I need to make this long. Let me fix this. That's the other problem. There we go. All right. Let's make that a long I. There we go. It is now a child, not a book. Oh, wait,
No, it's Libre, right?
hold on.
Libr. Oh God, now you got me confused.
Okay. Liber. Let's see here. With a short I.
It's a
is-
short I, yeah. Not long.
Yeah. So let's.
Or book.
Yeah, no,
No.
actually, no, I wanted children. Hold on.
Yeah, I know, but you did.
But I thought that the whole point was you were trying to show a word like Ajay.
Yeah, and what I want here is not the long one. Hold on. Wow. So much for real-time updates.
Okay.
Let me replace this again. I had it right the first time. Okay. Let's go back to here. Nope, where is it? There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
And yeah, here it is. Libero, okay. L-I-B, okay. And this should be, the short I is a child. The
No,
long I is a book.
No, the short I thought the short I was a child. I mean, the short I was a,
Oh, what?
no, you're right. It's a child and the long I is a book.
Now,
You're right.
I've got it backwards again. The long I is the child and the short I is the book. Wow. You know, let me get it right here. Give me just a minute. I'm getting all, good grief. There we go. Now let me, there, this is correct.
Okay, you got to change it up on top. That you have Liber,
There.
long I should be. Wait a second.
No, Liber.
I thought Liber, Liber, is book, and you have it
No,
L-I-
Liber, long I
is what?
is child.
Yeah, okay, but you have books in here. That's what that was throwing me off.
And
Okay.
no, I just said it backwards again.
I do
Sorry.
remember the famous Libero discussions that we used to have.
Yeah, Liber, long I is book. Liber,
Yeah, R-I is book, right? L-I-B.
I mean, sorry, Liber, long I is child.
Correct.
All right.
Short I is book.
Short I is book.
So so you need to take,
Oh,
okay. So you're gonna make it a
Oh.
child or a book, whatever one you want.
Oh dear. Okay, hold on. Let me undo this. Okay.
I'm sorry. Just when I thought I was getting this.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Liber
Liber.
is book.
Correct.
Liber is child. So let me make sure I get this straight. Okay, I got all the long I's off. I can't believe I did this. Book, books, book. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. I knew we had one that had that.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I think you've got it right.
Yeah, I got it right this
You
time.
got it.
All right, so let's do oppidum. And tell you what, let's actually, I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to use this one and I'm going to duplicate and I will drag it down here. And we'll say oppidum is UM. Oh, PPID. There we go. So now I can change this. Okay. And I'll have to fix the some of those endings, but that's okay. So this needs to be a UM. That needs to be A. That needs to be an A.
So you're trying to change this to a neuter second declension?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we'll go to town, because city, the plural of cities is not regular, so we will say, there we go. There we go. Okay, so oppidum, oppidum, oppidi, oppido, oppido, oppidi. Oops,
I'm not going to accusative of the same.
there we go. Yep, they are.
Okay.
I got to get it updated. Oh, I guess I need to put the dash in there. There we go. Huh. Well, sorry about that. All right. Anyway, there are now examples for each in that table.
Beautiful.
Okay. Adjectives. See if we can get through this. Adjectives, the nice thing about adjectives is we have the easy ones, the US, the A, and the UM. That is essentially, they take the same endings as the nouns used so far, okay? There are other nouns and adjectives that don't follow that rule, but we're not going to worry about that until chapter 9. That's the third declension. So just right now, make sure the noun and the adjective endings match. So Brundisium et Sparta oppida magna sunt. Brundisium and Sparta are big cities. See, we take this out, just say Brundisium et Sparta sunt oppida. Brundisium and Sparta are cities. If we want to stick a big in front of that, big modifying or describing what sort of cities, then it will have the same ending. And so right now that is universally true. So, anyway, the rule is that any adjective that describes a noun must agree in gender, number, and case. So fluvius magnus, exempla nominativa, masculinum, fluvius magnus, fluvii magni, singularis pluralis, insula magna, insulae magnae, oppidum magnum, oppidim magna. Okay.
What do you mean by case again?
Oh, okay. Case. Nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, ablative, and vocative.
Okay, thank you. My brain's on fog.
Well, I probably confused everybody with my Libero. And okay, here are some accusative examples. Marcus vidit fluvium magnum. Marcus vidit fluvios magnos. Marcus vidit insula magnum. Let me underline those. Marcum vidit insulas magnas.
Beautiful.
So, neutrum, Marcus vidit oppidum magnum, the big city. Marcus vidit oppida magna. Marcus sees the big cities.
You know what, Michael? I wish I would have had what you just presented us thus far, doing that the homework for A. I kept going from the book to the companion, back and forth, back and forth.
Believe it or not, most of the stuff was already in a different form in earlier charts, but I wanted.
So this really cleans it up. Now I can go back and do it with some confidence.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't even getting close.
That was the purpose.
I hate to say it, I spent about 6-7 hours just trying to do that A, and I got part of it, and then the rest I just threw up my hands.
Well,
Hopefully
now you can go back and redo it. I didn't see it submitted. Did you submit it?
No, I didn't submit it because I was too embarrassed. There was too many blanks.
Okay. Well, now you can go back and hopefully clean it up.
Oh, now I can do it and then I'll send it in to you. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Verba Latina, Latin verbs. Verba Latina habent vocem, modum, temporum, et persona. Okay, voice, mode, temporal, and person. So vox, voice, activa, aut, passiva. Right now, all we have are active voice verbs, with the exception of est and sunt, which are special cases. An active voice verb means subject does something. Okay. Passive, on the other hand, means the subject is being done to the subject. So active, Julius vocat. Julius calls. Okay. We'll leave the direct object off for the moment. Passive is Julius vocatur, which we're going to get in the next section, which means Julius is being called. But right now you've got the active, so let's just work with it. We also have the mode, indicativus, we have that, the indicative. We have the imperativus, the imperative, and I'm throwing in the infinitive, the infinitivus, okay. The subjunctivus we can safely set aside to a much, much later chapter, because English really doesn't have a subjunctive. We have echoes of it, but by and large, we don't have it. And it's a very important mode in Latin, but we'll just leave it aside for the moment. Tempus. Well, we have praesens, imperfectum, futurum, perfectum. Yeah, perfectum, plusquam perfectum, aut perfectum futurum. So present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and then the future perfect. Right now, you only need to deal with the present tense. Thank goodness. Persona, we have prima, secunda, aut tertia, singularis, aut pluralis. In other words, first, second, and third person, singular or plural. So really, if I were going to underline, the only things you guys need to worry about would be this, and this, and this. There we go. So in the Familia Romana, we just have the voice, activa. Modus, indicativus, imperativus, et infinitivus, and the tempus is the present, and as I said, the persona is first, second. Oh, well, actually, sorry, persona, you just have persona tertia, singularis et pluralis, and persona secunda, singularis et pluralis for the imperative. Oh, actually, let me go back. You don't have any first there. You don't have any first person yet. You just have second or third. So what does that look like? Okay. Latin has 4 conjugations. Conjugations are like declensions for nouns, but the conjugations are the basic pattern for verbs, okay? And each conjugation has a set of endings for each set of voice, mood, tense, and person. And so you're going to find that there are a whopping number of endings for verbs. To really know the meaning of the verb, though, you need to know the endings. So as I said, fortunately for you, you've only seen third person singular and plural and second person singular and plural. So I'm only going to talk about those right now. I don't want to overload you, which is probably too late. You're already overloaded. So I don't want to overload you anymore. How's that sound? So now they are grouped by the infinitive ending, and that's why I wanted to talk about the infinitives. Conjugatio prima, R-A-R-E. Okay. Now, we've had it in cantat, cantant, sing and sings, plural, or vocat and vocant. Verberat, verberant. Well, I guess you only spanked one person at a time. I guess maybe we haven't had verberant. But these are known as ARE verbs, and that is the infinitive, cantare. So an infinitive, this is he sings, they sing. An infinitive is just to sing. We have them in English as well. It's to plus the verb, to, to sing, to listen, to have, to put, to come, to go, etc. Conjugación secunda are the ERE verbs. Habera, and we had habat and habant. He has, they have. And then we have the third conjugation. Okay, these are short ERE verb. Okay, and the distinguishing mark here is that's a long E and this is a short E. Okay. We had ponit and ponunt, to place, to put. So ponara is the, to put is the verb. I'm throwing in capita because later on it'll be important. Its big difference is it capit and ponit are the same, but ponunt and capiunt, you get an I in this guy. Okay.
Okay, hey, Michael, I got a question.
Sure.
Say like the second conjugation, say habat. How do I know that second and ponet is third conjugation?
You know what? Because I don't know how to type. There we go.
Oh, God, thank you.
Well, no, thank you.
I thought, man, I was about ready to buy a rope and just go and hit myself.
No. Well, buy it, but save it for later.
You mean it gets worse?
So, yeah, save it for later. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, okay, no, okay, okay.
Let's see, make sure opponent, ponent, capit, capiunt. Yeah, okay, good. I got them all.
So the root word for habet is HABE? Drop the ERE or the RE?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. There's a
Okay.
couple different ways to do this. Okay.
Okay.
And there we go. All right.
So like when you look up the word in the dictionary, how's it going to show if I look up the verb, say habit?
Okay. You would ask that.
Because I'm trying to figure out what the hieroglyphics of the in the dictionary, what all that means, in the beginning. I'm just totally, treading water right now.
First
Okay.
person present.
Where did they put it?
Try haber, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, they listed as the infinitive. Okay, well, this is all the more reason to talk about infinitives. Okay. No. Oh dear, I may have to put the macron in there. I have to put the macron in there. There we go. Okay, yeah. They have it listed by infinitive. Okay. Do you have the Latin dictionary other than this glossary?
Yes,
All right.
I'm looking at what you call it now.
Okay. All right. Let me here, let me bring this guy up. I think
No, Michael, don't they normally in dictionaries have the first person singular in
Yeah.
present, and then they follow that with the infinitive and so forth. In other words, they usually have the four forms, don't they?
yes, they do.
Yeah, okay.
And this is
Fabio.
this is getting a bit ahead, but can you see that? I don't know if that's
Yes, sir, I can. Yeah.
what they list in a normal dictionary. They will list the first person singular indicative form which in this case is habeo, then they will list, some will put the ERE in there, okay, saying, hey, that's the infinitive. Some will just put a number, depends on the dictionary. Then this is something which is the perfect form, and then this is the perfect passive participle. We will get into this more later.
Well, we're
but-
dealing with active right now, correct?
Pardon?
We're dealing with, when you said passive, this is, right now, we're dealing with just the active,
Yes, just the active
voice.
forms. Yeah, just the active forms. And this is the first person, singular. We haven't had any of the first person yet.
Oh, God.
So the best thing to do
So I want to make a,
yeah,
my flashcards.
yeah, let me fill this in here for you. Okay. First, whoops. Let me do something here. Let me do something here. Let's see, baseline, superscript.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to put these in parentheses because we have, whoops. Let me fix that. There. This is for the benefit of those that have dictionaries. Okay,
Yippee.
haven't had any of these yet.
Okay, but
These
my
are
question-
all the first person forms of the verbs.
okay,
these-
when I do the flashcard, I read somewhere it's better to try to put all the I guess singular, plural, and I guess, and just worry about the first person for right now. See, habent, right?
Yeah, we just have habent, or sorry, habet and habent.
Habent, right,
But if
We'll
you're
just
going to use your dictionary to look up stuff,
right.
okay, is apparently the glossary in the Familia Romana uses the infinitive forms,
Mhm.
okay, and most dictionaries use the first person forms. So I don't know what to tell you other than we're kind of at a awkward stage at the moment in that they chose to keep the verb forms simplified so that they can tell the story. And that's a good thing, by the way. That's not a bad thing. But it's unfortunate that the dictionaries use the first person singular as the entries in most dictionaries. So if you go back to my dictionary here, there's habeo. We can do pono. See, there's pono, to place. Okay, the 3 there indicates the declension in this dictionary. Okay, many dictionaries just use a number. Let's see, what was the other one? Capio. Yeah. This is, yeah, third conjugation. And then, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, venio. Venio is 4th. So the nice thing about the nice thing about this one is it displays the various conjugations. So that's why I kind of like it. So anyway, yeah, if you're going to look it up, use the first. And whereas if you're going to use it in the, and I believe that they do mention the infinitives, don't they? I think they mentioned the infinitives in a few places in the Familia Romana. Anyway, the way you work these, okay, now, how do you conjugate these? Couple of different ways to do it. This is how I do it. Okay, the book has a slightly different way. It's not better. Well, it comes out the same. The important thing is you get the same word. So what I like is you drop the infinitive ending. Okay, that gives you the verb root. Okay, so you do the verb root, then you add the conjugation vowel, which for the AR, long ER, and long IRE verbs are that vowel, the A, the E, the I. For the short ERE verbs, it is an I, okay? That's where the third kind of mucks things up. So for the singular, you add a T for the AR, ER, ERE, and IR. So you have cantat, habet, ponet, capit, and audit. So these two being ERE verbs, short ERE verbs, you get an I. For the plural, for the ARE and the ERE, it's cantant and habent. But for the ERE verbs, it's ponunt. Okay, drop the I before the U.
Right.
For the I, and it's IUNT for the short ER-IO verbs like capio. And we'll talk more about those for the moment. But audiunt, so it's capiunt and audiunt. So what is
That's
that?
the other thing where I was having problems trying to figure out what.
Well, there's a table.
Where were you last week?
Making the table.
I
Oh,
should have
last week? Oh, last week.
I'm
was
just
crazy.
teasing. I wish I would have had this.
Yeah, last week was crazy.
I could have done my homework.
Yeah. So anyway, here we're getting over time. Same thing for the vocative. Okay. This is the table. This is the way I like to do it. Okay. The
Good.
ARE or A's, the long ERE or E's, the short E's or I's, and then the long I is the I. So vocat, vocant, habet, habent, ponet, ponunt, capit, capiunt, and audit and audiunt.
Okay.
And this is the imperative: voca, vocate, habe, habete, pone.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out if it ends, if it's UNT or IUNT, and that's where I kept.
Yeah,
going.
that's why. Yeah, for the fourth declension, it's IUNT. It's this third declension that has these what's known as IO verbs. I don't think we've had too many IO verbs. Well, we have had. Yeah, we have had.
Yeah, third conjugate. We've had third.
Conjugation. Yeah, that's right. We actually did have that. So yeah, the capit needs a capiunt.
A videt.
What?
A videt and then VIDITE is
Yeah, video. Yeah, this would be video. If we put video up here, or sorry, videra, which is second conjugation. So videt, vident, vide, videte.
Yeah, see that's where I couldn't figure out second or third conjugation, and or fourth. It was all kind of like this mushing
Yeah,
together.
if it's got an E, like videt, then it's very much second conjugation.
When you said it has an E, that's the root word, the thema, right? Thema. Or actually, it's
No,
ED,
what
yeah,
I'm saying is well, the root word is before the infinitive ending. Okay, so maybe what I need to do here,
so it'd be voca or voc, just voc.
just voc. Okay, now here we go. We'll do it this way, maybe. I don't know. Does that make more sense to folks?
Yeah, but again, that second conjugation, HAB, and then pone, third conjugation, it's like I couldn't figure out what conjugation they were, or the verb was. Was it a second? Like I was taking haber and using it as a third conjugation, habet, IT, and I'm going, God, I was just getting frustrated. There's got to be a better way to learn this. I don't know.
Okay, there we go. Maybe this makes better sense. For the singular third person, the verbs all end in T, every last one of them.
Okay.
For the plural, they all end in NT,
Correct.
but some of them you got to stick a U in. Okay. So if you see the word habet or habent or any ET or ENT verb, then it is all second conjugation. Okay. There are no other E's in this list, right?
Got it. Yeah, I was just going to say, I couldn't figure out what's the difference between habent and opponent.
Yeah.
And I just now I'm looking at because the one's a long ERE and the other one's a short ERE.
Yes.
You
Well,
just have to
there's not a
memorize.
lot of difference.
You just have to memorize which verbs are second and which ones are third.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it boils down to. I'm just going to have to start.
That's
memorizing
what it is.
verbs.
There is no one rule. You just have to, when
See,
you're in,
that's what I was trying to do, Alex. I was trying to put a general rule that,
Yeah.
and that's what I was trying to apply doing the homework, and it wasn't working.
no, it's,
Yeah.
when you look at the second and the third and you see where the second keeps that E ending throughout, whereas the third, it moves to the I in that third person singular. So that tells you that you'll never see notice how it's PONUNT, and that's
Yes, sir.
because you'll never see PONINT in at least in the present indicative case. It's always going to switch to the U. But so the key is, as soon as you see the ERE infinitive switch to the I in the, say, third person singular, then you know that changes everything. It's not going to be the ENT, it's going to be the UNT.
UNT.
Right. When it moves from the E to the I, and that tells you you're in the third conjugation and not in the second.
When it moves from say that again.
Okay, so the infinitive for ponere ends in ERE, right?
Correct.
Just like habere does. But
Correct.
whereas habere keeps the E when you move to the third person singular, so you can see habet there, right? And so, but what happens to ponere, since it's third conjugation, it moves from the E to the I in third person singular. So that
and the T stay constant. Okay, got it.
that's your tip off that you're now in the third conjugation, because it switches from the E to the I, ending in the from the infinitive to the third person singular. So you know you're now in the third person, and as this points out, there's then it's you have the IO words like capere, which is also ERE, but the difference between ponere and capere is that you have the IUNT because the first person singular is going to be capio. So whereas that's not the case with the third person non-IO. But the main thing is in the third conjugation, they're all ERE, just like the second conjugation has an ERE infinitive, but it changes from the E endings as the second conjugation doesn't change from the E ending. It stays in the E ending all the way through. but not the third.
It becomes a short E then, for the, well, for the
But
singular.
in this case, it's a short E.
Right,
You'll find that some of the other forms, such as the first person plural, habemus, the E becomes long. But when we get those, we'll talk about those then. Just for now, just concentrate on these. Just the
Okay.
third person. And the infinitive, which,
all right, I shall.
Okay.
Got it.
and the good news is they all end in NT or T, singular and plural.
Mhm.
Imperative is similar in that it ends in the vowel from the infinitive. So A, long E, long E, short E, short E, short E, short E, long I. And then to get to the plural, you add a TE, and then we're back to the that I again. So ponite and capite, ponite and capite, and then audite for the long I again. So
One last thing, you have Terra and then IO. What is that?
tertia. Okay, there are two kinds of third conjugation.
Our third conjugation. Okay.
Yeah. Now, since he gave you, or since we're only, since the book is only dealing with the third, oh my, we're really over time. Since we're
sorry.
only dealing with the third person, the only where you see this is in the capiunt. Okay. If I showed you if you remember, I showed you what the first person was to look it up in the dictionary. Where do we put this? Okay, I put it in here someplace. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So the infinitive is ponere. It's not an IO verb because there is no IO in the first person. Whereas capita,
First person.
yeah, has the IO in the first person.
That's how it gets its IO name.
Yeah, so it's somewhat unfortunate that they've only dealt with just the third person, at least in this regard.
Okay.
But on the other hand, you don't have,
And that's the only IO third declension.
Yes.
Verb.
yes,
is Copy, capere,
better,
capera, capera,
yeah, like that.
right.
Yes. So,
All right.
all right, let's move on and finish up. So, yeah, let's get through chapter 5. I would like to start chapter 6 if folks are ready. If you feel you need a little more time on chapter 5, we can do that. But I would prefer to go to chapter 6.
As long as you make this available.
Oh yeah,
afterward-
I'm gonna resave it. Well, I sent the notes out earlier. I'll resave it, say updated notes. Okay.
Yeah, please, because then this really helps me.
Yeah. I will warn you in chapter 6. Let me okay, here it is. Let's see. Hopefully I haven't timed out yet. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, I timed out.
Didn't you say earlier, Michael, that in chapter 6, they introduce the ablative of instrument and ablative of means?
Yes, they do. Here, let me re-log in here. Sometimes this thing gets confused when it times out. There we go. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, there's okay, chapter 6. Yeah, if you look at the Latine disco, they're going to add more prepositions. Now, up till now, all our prepositions took the ablative. So in, cum, sine, etc. Well, now we're going to add prepositions that take the accusative. There is a general rule of thumb,
Motion.
which is motion, which will define whether it's an accusative or a ablative. And they also add, motion to or from. Oh, you actually get the locative. I was kind of surprised at that. They've thrown in a few of the locatives. We'll talk about that. And then something called the ablative of instrument or means. So, okay, so let's take a example. Dominus servum baculo verberat. The master beats the servant with the stick or rod.
So the preposition is understood.
Yeah. So we don't say cum baculo in there. Okay. It's the fact that this is in the ablative form. It's called the ablative of instruments or the ablative of means, which in other words, how the verb and how the action was carried out. So the action is beating. Who was beating? The master. Who was beaten? The direct object, which is the servant. And then baculo is
With what? With the preposition.
pardon?
I said it's with what? That's the preposition.
Okay. If you want to, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Or the ablative, the ablative.
Yeah, the ablative, the word in the ablative. Okay, so
The key is the fact that you've got baculo with the macron on it, so it tells you it's in the ablative.
yes.
Correct.
And we get something called the passive. As I said, vocat is he calls, vocatur is he, she, or it is called. So they had an example here. Did they? I thought they did.
Yeah, they do down below. Let Julius lexica.
Well, that's okay. Those are new words. I want to stay away from those yet. You'll get them later on. So you could say Julius vocat servum.
They also had that Lydia verbis maybe delectatur. You've had delectat. No, it's above that, about 3 lines above that, right?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, okay. That
No, the next sentence, Lydia.
Lydia.
Okay. Lydia is delighted by the words of Medus. So it's not that Lydia, I think I'll stick with my vocat for a minute. So Julius vocat servum, Julius calls the servant. And you could say servus vocatur a Julio. The servant is called by Julius. So, and that's why we need the ablative of means and some of this other stuff so that we know.
Yeah, if you look at the first sentence of that paragraph, the Latin sentence Marcus Julian pulsat, you see that it can be turned into Julia pulsatur.
Oh, there it is. Yes, there it is. I knew there was, Marcus Julian pulsat. Marcus hits Julia. Julia pulsatur a Marco. Julia is hit by Marcus or is being hit. So, so that's how the passive is. And you'll see that for the third person, they all end in UR, but that UR is attached to what the third person indicative. So vocat, vocatur, vocant, vocantur. So it should be pretty easy to, to add the passive. And I'll produce a chart later for this chapter. Anyway, we are like way over, so let's finish up.
Sorry.
And I will mute everybody. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in caelis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie. Et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos debitimus debitoribus nostris. Et nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. And let me point out that you've had a passive verb sneaking around in the Our Father. Hallowed be thy name. Not that somebody is hallowing his name, but rather his name is being hallowed. Anyway, with that, I will